In search of fellow Mandalorians, Djarin pilots his spaceship once again to the sandy world of Tatooine. This desert planet is under the rule of Boba Fett. After docking his ship at Peli's hangar for maintenance, Djarin sets out into the desert on his speeder bike, accompanied by Baby Yoda, looking for clues. The ones most familiar with this barren land are the native Tusken Raiders. Using hand signs to communicate with them, Djarin learns that someone has recently spotted a Mandalorian in a nearby small town. The next day, he rides his speeder bike into the town. Upon entering a local tavern to ask around, Djarin spots a figure wearing unmistakable Mandalorian armor. The man introduces himself as Cobb, the town's marshal. Initially mistaking him for a lost clan member, Djarin quickly realizes otherwise when Cobb casually removes his helmet, something strictly forbidden by the Mandalorian creed. The armor Cobb wears is the very one lost by Boba Fett. Ever since Boba fell unconscious and his armor was stolen by scavenging Jawas, the Jawas drove their massive sandcrawler to the outskirts of town, continuing to scavenge for valuable goods. At that time, Cobb, being chased by bandits, was rescued by these Jawas. Seeing the purple crystals Cobb carried, they eagerly proposed a trade from their treasure-filled vehicle. Cobb chose Boba Fett's iconic armor. For Djarin, this matter is about Mandalorian honor. He can't allow sacred armor to remain in the hands of outsiders. He sternly demands Cobb return the armor, saying, "Hand over the armor, or I'll take it by force." But Cobb isn't someone easily intimidated. He's renowned for his swift gun-drawing skills. Just as the tension peaks, a violent rumble outside interrupts their confrontation. Stepping out, they see villagers frantically running for shelter as a massive disturbance ripples through the sand toward the town. Emerging from the shifting sands is a gigantic beast heading straight for a nearby bantha. The Marshal reveals that this isn't the first time he's dealt with this menace. This enormous Krayt Dragon has plagued the town repeatedly. Cobb offers a deal. If Djarin helps him defeat the dragon, he'll willingly hand over the Mandalorian armor. Djarin agrees, and together they head toward the beast's lair to scout the location. Approaching the cave, a terrifying howl stops them in their tracks. They swiftly grab their weapons, poised and ready. A desert dog appears, snarling fiercely, and soon after, an entire pack emerges from behind rock formations. Just as Cobb prepares to shoot, Djarin lets out a guttural roar, communicating with the creatures. It turns out these desert dogs belong to the Tusken Raiders. Thanks to his previous connection, Djarin knows the Tuskens well. Communicating through sign language again, they discover the Tusken Raiders also wish to slay this destructive dragon. That night, by the fire, they devise a plan together. However, hostility runs deep. The Tuskens harbor resentment due to years of poor treatment by the townsfolk, leading to a tense argument between Cobb and the tribe. But with Djarin's mediation, they eventually strike a cooperative truce. The next day, the united group rides banthas to perform initial scouting at the dragon's lair. Since the dragon constantly terrorizes both the village and the Tusken Raiders, devouring their carefully raised banthas, the two previously hostile groups unite against their common enemy. They carefully load explosives, gear up, and set out determinedly toward the dragon's lair. Upon arriving at the ominous cave entrance, they initiate their carefully laid battle strategy. The enormous cave, chilly and eerie, sends shivers down their spines. A courageous Tusken warrior steps forward to sense the dragon's condition. By touching the ground, he confirms the dragon currently sleeps. They begin meticulously placing their explosive traps. According to Tusken Raider wisdom, the dragon's sole weak point lies in its belly. Working swiftly and precisely, they bury explosives along the dragon's path. Once the beast steps onto their trap, they'll trigger the detonation immediately. Additionally, they ready 2 massive ballista crossbows to prevent any chance of escape. With everything set, a young woman hands the detonator to Cobb. The warriors brace themselves, preparing for the approaching battle. 3 brave Tuskens step forward to awaken the dragon, their piercing calls echoing sharply through the cavern. Roused from its slumber, the dragon roars ferociously, unleashing massive waves of sand as it charges toward the scouts. Its enormous head bursts forth from beneath the sands, jaws wide open, pursuing the fleeing Tuskens. The ballista crossbows fire quickly, but tragically, one Tusken warrior falls prey to the dragon, swallowed whole. Just as the dragon approaches the explosive trap, it recoils from pain inflicted by the ballista bolts and tries to retreat. Tuskens desperately hold the ropes to restrain it. but the dragon's powerful thrashing drags them helplessly into the cave. In panic, Cobb prepares to detonate prematurely, but Djarin stops him. Instead, Djarin commands everyone to hurl explosives, drawing the dragon back out. Infuriated, the beast re-emerges, roaring fiercely and chasing after the group. People unleash a frenzied counterattack. Wounded and enraged, the dragon rolls violently beneath the sand, flinging people around like toys. When the beast opens its mouth, readying a devastating attack, terror grips the group. They scatter frantically. With a ghastly roar, the dragon sprays venomous liquid over the fleeing people. A powerful explosion wounds the dragon, causing it to retreat underground. Silence falls over the area, tense and uncertain. Yet moments later, to their shock, the dragon suddenly appears atop the mountain, showering venomous spray again onto the helpless people below.
Picking us off like what?
Witnessing this carnage, Cobb and Djarin leap into action, swiftly flying toward the dragon with full equipment. At the mountain's peak, they attack, catching the beast's attention despite causing minimal damage. The dragon lunges, teeth bared, but they skillfully dodge, regrouping for another strike. Suddenly, amidst the collapsing rocks and dust, the dragon vanishes, only to burst forth again from behind the warriors, causing panic once more. Spotting a bantha loaded with explosives nearby, Djarin conceives a daring plan. He instructs Cobb to fire a missile, luring the dragon closer. With the dragon baited, Djarin takes the detonator from Cobb, swiftly sending the Marshal to safety and setting the plan into motion. However, just as the dragon nears, the terrified bantha panics, attempting to run away. Djarin urgently holds it steady as the monstrous jaws loom closer, swallowing both warrior and beast amid swirling sands. A sudden, unnerving quiet descends as survivors anxiously await any sign. Even Baby Yoda worries about Djarin's fate, while Cobb stares incredulously. Then, a tremor grows stronger, and the massive dragon resurfaces, jaws crackling with electric charges. Suddenly, Djarin bursts forth from within the beast's mouth, detonating the explosives mid-air. With a tremendous blast, the dragon is finally defeated. Cheers erupt from the survivors, and the Tusken Raiders eagerly harvest the dragon's remains for precious treasures. The rare dragon meat becomes a celebrated delicacy, and Djarin claims a savory slice to share with Baby Yoda. True to his word, Cobb returns the armor intact to Djarin, and amidst the dragon's bones, a Tusken warrior triumphantly discovers a valuable Dragon Pearl. Just as Djarin resumes his journey to find fellow Mandalorians, a mysterious figure dressed in a black robe silently observes everything from a distant hillside. This figure is none other than Boba Fett, determined to reclaim his lost armor from Djarin. Meanwhile, Djarin leisurely contemplates whether he should barbecue or steam his dragon meat tonight, unaware that alien bandits are laying a trap for him nearby. While enjoying the thrill of his speeder bike ride, Djarin assumes the bandits want his valuable dragon meat, but their true target is Baby Yoda. As Djarin fights two of the attackers head-on, another bandit quietly prepares a rope gun, expertly aiming, but accidentally knocking out his two partners instead. Just as Djarin steps forward to thank him, the bandit threatens Djarin to drop his weapon. Djarin quickly agrees, insisting the bandit can take whatever he wants, as long as Baby Yoda remains unharmed. Surprisingly, the bandit is only interested in Djarin's jetpack, not the dragon meat or even the armor itself. Reluctantly, Djarin places the jetpack down. The bandit confidently takes the jetpack and walks away, unaware it's remotely linked to Djarin's armor.
You okay?
Moments ago, Djarin was speeding joyfully, but now he's forced to walk across this vast, desolate desert. By the time he reaches town, night has already fallen. There, Peli greets him with good news. She's found someone who truly knows where other Mandalorians might be. However, the contact, a frog lady, has a condition. She needs Djarin's spaceship to safely escort her back to her home planet. Because she's carrying delicate frog eggs crucial for her family's survival, hyperdrive travel isn't an option. If used, it could mean extinction for her species. The next day, Djarin reluctantly sets out into space with the frog lady aboard his ship. During the flight, the Frog Lady repeatedly tries to warn him about speed limits and safety concerns, but Djarin, unable to understand her language, has no idea what she's saying. Meanwhile, Baby Yoda quietly plots mischief on the lower deck, nervous that Djarin might discover his plans. Bored during the long journey, Djarin activates autopilot, encourages the Frog Lady to rest, and goes to the lower deck to find Baby Yoda. To his shock, Baby Yoda has disappeared. Djarin quickly turns around and catches Baby Yoda greedily devouring the frog eggs. Djarin quickly intervenes, scolding Baby Yoda and placing him securely aside. Just when Djarin tries to rest, alarms blare loudly, forcing him to rush back to the cockpit. 2 Space Patrol officers demand Djarin immediately present his flight registration, making him extremely nervous, as his ship isn't officially registered. Unable to bluff his way out of this situation, Djarin panics and decides to accelerate to evade them. Without hyperdrive capabilities, his spaceship has no speed advantage. In desperation, Djarin makes a daring move. He abruptly cuts the ship's power, causing the vessel to plunge rapidly towards the planet below. At the last possible moment, he restarts the engines, skillfully navigating into a canyon full of jagged ice formations, with the 2 patrol ships relentlessly following. Facing imminent danger, Djarin takes another risky maneuver, sharply steering into a narrow ice crevice. The ship scrapes harshly against the walls of the icy crack, and Djarin urgently tells the Frog Lady to hold on tight. His expert flying allows him to drift gracefully along the icy horizon. Finally, he hides the ship beneath rocky cliffs, successfully evading the patrol ships. Yet tragedy strikes again. The ice beneath cannot bear the ship's weight, causing it to collapse, sending the vessel plunging deep into an icy canyon. Everyone on board falls unconscious. When they awaken, the ship is severely damaged. The Frog Lady immediately urges Djarin to check on her precious eggs. Rushing below deck, he's alarmed to find Baby Yoda secretly eating more eggs again. Thankfully, the Frog Lady hasn't counted them, otherwise Djarin would struggle to explain. After calming her down, Djarin heads out alone to repair the damaged ship. Outside, temperatures plummet below -50 degrees Celsius. Without his armor, Djarin could never endure such brutal cold. As Djarin focuses intently on repairs, Baby Yoda suddenly alerts him that the Frog Lady has disappeared. Following Baby Yoda's guidance, Djarin discovers footprints in the snow, quickly tracking them down. But he's unaware he's heading toward even greater danger. Inside a freezing ice cave, the Frog Lady enjoys a hot spring bath alongside her eggs. Djarin rushes in urgently, warning her that this place is dangerously unsafe. Quickly, he retrieves the frog eggs into a heated container, urging her to return immediately to the ship. Baby Yoda can't resist trying to grab an egg again, but Djarin, wise to his tricks, promptly stops him. Disappointed, Baby Yoda wanders away, beyond Djarin's watchful gaze. Curious, Baby Yoda finds himself surrounded by strange eggs scattered around. He opens one, grabbing a tiny spider creature and eagerly devouring it. Suddenly, all the other eggs simultaneously hatch, prompting Baby Yoda to panic, squealing in terror, running quickly back toward Djarin. Only then do they realize they've stumbled into a spider nest. As Djarin picks up Baby Yoda, hundreds of freshly hatched spiders surge toward them. The Frog Lady senses danger too, hurriedly dressing and rejoining Djarin. Then, from deep within the shadows, a massive, menacing mother spider emerges, followed by countless smaller spiders aggressively charging at the intruders. Knowing they can't linger, Djarin shouts for everyone to run. Their frantic escape prompts the spiders to chase even faster. Just as they're about to be overtaken, the narrow ice cave temporarily blocks the giant spider's path. Furious, the creature shatters the ice ceiling above, sending debris falling everywhere as hordes of smaller spiders flood forward relentlessly. Djarin desperately fires his blaster, but it's nearly useless against the swarm. In a surge of adrenaline, the Frog Lady quickly leaps ahead, leaving even Djarin behind. Sharp ice spikes rain down upon them, intensifying their panic. Realizing they can't keep running blindly, Djarin grabs 3 explosives, tossing them strategically, one directly toward the enormous spider above. The explosions collapse massive chunks of ice, sending the giant spider crashing to the ground, immobilized briefly, but their path forward is completely blocked by countless smaller spiders. Djarin ignites a fierce flame-throwing attack, creating a temporary gap to push toward the exit, yet the spider swarm proves overwhelming. Djarin fights bravely, blasting his weapon as he rushes desperately toward the ship. He sends Baby Yoda and the Frog Lady inside first, staying behind to hold off spiders at the door. However, the giant spider sprays a web-like substance, sticking Djarin's hand firmly to the ship's hull. Quickly, a small spider attacks, but Djarin grabs and fiercely slams it to the ground. Realizing he can't hold back the swarm any longer, Djarin retreats into the cockpit. Even inside, spiders squeeze through tiny gaps, directly targeting Baby Yoda. Just as a spider prepares to strike Baby Yoda, a sudden gunshot saves him. It's the Frog Lady, courageously defending them. Djarin regains composure, incinerates remaining spiders, and quickly seals the cockpit door, temporarily easing the crisis. Yet spiders continue climbing over the ship's exterior. Djarin urgently straps himself in, desperately trying to launch the damaged ship. Miraculously, the battered spacecraft lifts from the ground, but just as it rises, the giant spider crashes down again, pinning them to the surface. Its massive claws break through the cockpit glass, terrifyingly searching for Baby Yoda. Its sharp teeth scrape chillingly against the window. Just as it lunges once more, a sudden barrage of laser fire blasts through, killing the monstrous spider instantly. Saved in their darkest hour, Djarin and his companions catch their breath. But uncertainty looms, for Djarin has no idea whether those outside are friend or foe. Djarin cautiously steps outside the ship to investigate, discovering 2 patrol officers from the New Republic. The officers help eliminate the remaining spiders and inform Djarin that after checking his record, they confirmed he hasn't broken any laws. They simply issue him a warning: quickly repair the ship and leave the planet as soon as possible. Watching the officers' starships slowly disappear, Djarin sighs and reluctantly picks up his tools, fixing the essential components. Although the ship can barely take off, everyone on board endures an extremely rough and uncomfortable ride. Djarin attempts to pilot the ship toward their next destination, but midway through the journey, the damaged spacecraft struggles against violent air currents and begins plummeting toward a disastrous crash. The friction from re-entry ignites fiery sparks along the hull, shaking the passengers violently inside. They silently pray for a safe landing. A control tower on the ground urgently warns them to slow down immediately. Unfortunately, the ship's limited remaining fuel isn't enough to ensure a proper landing. In this critical moment, Djarin carefully calculates every move. Just as the spaceship nears the ground, Djarin hits the thrusters, causing the craft to decelerate rapidly. Shaking uncontrollably, the ship barely manages to stabilize just before touchdown, but ends up plunging directly into the sea. With assistance from a heavy-duty crane, the battered ship is retrieved from the water. Fortunately, the sealed compartments protected everyone inside, saving their lives. But trouble never ends. Immediately, a local repair shop owner arrives, eagerly offering his expensive services. Djarin, frustrated, realizes this simple delivery mission has cost him dearly, nearly losing his entire ship. As the Frog Lady happily reunites with her family, a mysterious woman in a black cloak secretly watches them from the shadows. When they turn to look, the mysterious figure vanishes silently into the crowd. The frog couple leads Djarin into a local tavern, introducing him to a squid-faced man who reportedly knows the whereabouts of other Mandalorians. Djarin, seeking crucial information, generously rewards him. The squid-like creature, understanding proper hospitality, even offers Baby Yoda a bowl of noodles as a courtesy. However, there's something peculiar about these noodles. Baby Yoda curiously examines them with his spoon. Just as the squid-faced man arranges a guide for Djarin, Baby Yoda is suddenly attacked by an octopus hidden in his noodles, screaming loudly and disrupting Djarin's careful assessment of the strangers. The guide approaches Djarin, promising he can introduce him to other Mandalorians, but first they must board a fishing boat for a journey lasting several hours. Unbeknownst to Djarin, he's being tricked. Their true intention is stealing his precious armor. During the long voyage, the squid-faced crew cunningly invites Djarin to witness a fish-feeding event. Curious as ever, Baby Yoda eagerly joins. Taking advantage of their distraction, one of the crew members suddenly strikes, knocking Baby Yoda into the water. Without hesitation, Djarin leaps into the water to rescue Baby Yoda from the monstrous creature below. But this was exactly their trap. As an iron cage slowly closes overhead, the squid-faced crew reveal their treacherous smiles. Struggling for air, Djarin surfaces desperately, only to be brutally attacked by the crew again and forced underwater. Unable to fight back, Djarin is relentlessly assaulted, giving him no chance to breathe. Suddenly, a female Mandalorian drops from above, diverting the attacker's attention. Immediately, a second Mandalorian arrives to assist, followed quickly by a third warrior joining the fight. One Mandalorian retrieves Baby Yoda's cradle safely from the water, Fortunately, the cradle protected him from harm. When Djarin attempts to thank them, he's shocked as they casually remove their helmets right in front of him. Suspicious, Djarin questions their identity, but they explain confidently that although different, they follow another Mandalorian creed. The leader introduces herself as Bo-Katan Kryze, rightful heir to the throne of Mandalore, the true ruler and rightful owner of the Kryze dynasty. That night, at the harbor, they reveal their ambitious plan to Djarin. To reclaim their homeworld, Kryze intends to hijack an Imperial ship transporting powerful weapons. She invites Djarin to join their daring mission, offering him crucial information about Jedi in return. Although hesitant, Djarin agrees. A dramatic battle soon unfolds. As an enormous Imperial ship packed with weaponry rises into the sky, 4 heavily armed Mandalorians rapidly pursue from behind. Their mission is clear: seize the Imperial vessel. The Mandalorians swiftly board from the rear, determined to seize control. As the ship rises, alarms blare. The captain quickly rushes to the cockpit and orders every hatch sealed tight. The 4 warriors, fully prepared, swiftly use specialized keys to bypass security doors. Stormtroopers rush in, but the Mandalorians expertly dispatch them with speed and precision. On the second level, however, enemy fire fiercely blocks their advance. Djarin decisively throws a smoke grenade, activates his scanner, and systematically eliminates each enemy soldier blocking their way. As they ascend to the weapon storage room, the Imperials have already prepared heavy defenses. Djarin tosses smoke grenades and uses advanced targeting equipment to neutralize enemy forces. But Kryze's true goal isn't merely the weapons. She seeks to reclaim the legendary Darksaber from Gideon, the enemy's supreme leader. Only with the Darksaber can she rightfully claim leadership and restore Mandalore's greatness. Inside the cockpit, the Imperial captain receives direct orders from Gideon. Understanding their intent clearly, he swiftly eliminates his own pilots. Taking control personally, the captain pilots the ship rapidly toward the surface, planning to crash and destroy everyone aboard. The warriors race desperately to the cockpit, fighting against time. Enemy fire pins them down. There seems no way forward. In a moment of bravery, Djarin grabs 2 explosives, shields himself tightly, and charges straight through enemy fire. Even with his armor absorbing damage, the sheer force nearly overwhelms him. With the explosions clearing a path, the group rushes forward. Djarin quickly joins Kryze at the controls, desperately pulling the ship upward. The ship narrowly avoids crashing into the sea below, rising safely at the last second. The warriors breathe a sigh of relief. With their mission complete, Kryze finally reveals to Djarin the location of the Jedi, a planet in the Corvus system. After bidding farewell, Djarin leaps off the ship. Returning to the harbor, Djarin searches anxiously for Baby Yoda. Approaching their battered spacecraft, Djarin sees the sloppy repairs done by a fish-headed mechanic. It's worse than he imagined. Though unstable, the ship is still able to fly. As the ship wobbles through the air, an octopus suddenly creeps toward Baby Yoda from above. Just before Baby Yoda is attacked, Djarin swiftly grabs the octopus, saving him. Despite the damaged condition, they set off again toward their next destination. Meanwhile, at a hidden hideout, alien bandits count stolen credits under dim lights. A sudden noise alerts them. Weapons drawn, they cautiously investigate. One daring bandit steps out to check, but instantly, a strong woman attacks, swiftly overpowering him. This fierce woman's name is Cara Dune, and she's here to restore order. Outside, Greef Karga, a familiar face, joins the fight, reuniting with his longtime companion, Djarin. As these battle-hardened friends reunite once again, memories flood back, reminding them of the countless battles and hardships they've faced together. The reunion of these old friends brings warmth amid uncertain times. The enthusiastic magistrate quickly arranges for technicians to repair Djarin's battered spaceship. As they prepare to head into town, none of them notice an Imperial spy hiding among the repair crew. Thanks to Magistrate Karga and Cara Dune's careful management, this planet has become more prosperous than ever. But before Djarin's ship repairs are complete, there's something even more pressing they need his help with. They decide to leave Baby Yoda temporarily in a local classroom while they discuss their next steps. Inside the classroom, Baby Yoda is completely distracted. His eyes locked onto the delicious cookies being enjoyed by the student next to him, drooling and completely oblivious to the lesson. He lifts his head to signal the boy, quietly asking if he might share some cookies, but the child just glances back, ignoring him completely. Undeterred, Baby Yoda shamelessly extends his little hand, begging directly, leaving the boy awkwardly uncertain how to respond. Watching the child savor each bite, Baby Yoda's hunger awakens the force within him. As his tiny claw-like hand rises, the boy smugly continues chewing, not realizing Baby Yoda has already stealthily stolen the cookies right under his nose. Despite Magistrate Karga and Kara's best efforts to restore peace, they discover one last hidden Imperial base still active on the mountainside. To ensure permanent safety, this final threat must be eliminated. The four companions speed toward the base on their speeder, shocked upon arrival to find Imperial troops still fully operational inside. Their astonishment grows further upon realizing this is no ordinary military base. It's actually a secret biological research laboratory. Determined to uncover the Imperial's sinister purpose, Kara instructs the fish-faced crewmen to hack into the base's systems for more details. They stumble upon a recent recording sent directly to Gideon, revealing that the Imperials have secretly been experimenting on Baby Yoda's DNA. The message was sent only 2 days prior, confirming to Djarin that Gideon is indeed still alive. Realizing the situation is even more serious than they'd feared, Djarin immediately becomes deeply concerned for Baby Yoda's safety. He urgently decides to head back alone to retrieve Baby Yoda, promising to return with his ship for extraction. As the others retreat toward the landing platform, a squad of stormtroopers arrives, trapping them. Thinking quickly, Kara notices an Imperial transport nearby. She orders her companions to provide covering fire as she sprints toward the vehicle. Quickly testing its systems, Kara confirms the transport is fully operational. She rapidly backs the heavy transport toward her friends, intending to escape through the corridor, but the enemy seals off the doors at the last moment. Kara instantly improvises, turning the heavy vehicle around and making a daring decision. Disregarding everyone's terrified reactions inside, Kara begins driving the massive transport as recklessly as if it were a sports car. She slams down on the accelerator, hurtling straight toward enemy forces before plunging off a cliff edge. Thankfully, they survive the terrifying drop unscathed, though the fish-faced crewman's personal speeder is crushed beyond repair. Just as the shaken crewman mourns his destroyed vehicle, an excited Kara floors the accelerator again, nearly knocking him off balance. A squad of fearless stormtroopers eagerly leap over the cliff on their own speeder bikes, recklessly chasing after the transport. While a few soldiers miraculously avoid instant doom, several others quickly lose control, crashing violently into rocks below. The remaining skilled troopers successfully land, immediately accelerating toward the fleeing transport. Seeing the stormtroopers rapidly closing in, Kara orders Karga to the rear cannon to open fire. With careful aim, Karga launches a powerful blast, creating a massive explosion that eliminates one pursuer. The remaining two troopers cleverly split apart, maneuvering around either side of the transport to avoid its cannon fire, which has only a 180-degree range. Kara, noticing one trooper approaching too closely, flashes a mischievous smile and violently sideswipes him into oblivion. Another daring enemy jumps atop their vehicle, desperately attempting to plant explosives, but Kara skillfully shakes him off. With the enemy seemingly defeated, everyone breathes a sigh of relief, momentarily celebrating their victory. Yet their joy is short-lived. As the Imperial base explodes behind them, 4 advanced fighter ships suddenly pursue from above. Their monitors flash urgent warnings. The celebration came far too soon. Faces quickly turn tense as the enemy fighters swiftly close the distance, easily overtaking the slow transport. Karga urgently fires the rear cannons upward, but long-distance accuracy proves difficult. As the enemy fighters gracefully dodge his shots, they launch their own counterattack. Kara skillfully navigates, narrowly dodging the relentless bombardment, raining from above.
Going on back there?
You want to come back here and try this piece again?
She urges Karga to fire faster, but under these chaotic circumstances, hitting the fast-moving fighters seems almost impossible. The fighters lower their altitude aggressively into the canyon, locking onto the transport for the final blow. At the last possible second, Karga miraculously lands a perfect shot, destroying one fighter instantly. However, the damaged fighter crashes toward them like a blazing fireball, smashing into the transport and completely disabling their turret. With 3 enemy fighters still pursuing, they're forced into an exposed plain, completely vulnerable and unable to defend themselves. Just as everyone braces for the worst, the 3 enemy ships mysteriously accelerate away in retreat. Confused, the trio soon realize why. Djarin has arrived just in time, flying his repaired ship to their rescue. Djarin instructs Baby Yoda to buckle up safely, then swiftly accelerates after the fleeing enemy. Baby Yoda excitedly raises both hands, laughing cheerfully as Djarin unleashes a barrage of cannon fire, obliterating an enemy ship instantly. Performing incredible aerial maneuvers, Djarin skillfully twists and rolls, pursuing the last 2 ships at breathtaking speed. In a final head-to-head confrontation, Djarin expertly evades enemy fire and decisively destroys the remaining fighters. Though battered and barely operational, his ship triumphantly emerges victorious once again. Without landing to rest, Djarin immediately sets course for planet Corvus, determined to finally locate the Jedi. Yet Djarin remains unaware that during repairs, the Imperial spy secretly installed a tracking device onto his ship. The ruthless Imperial leader, Gideon, does not immediately pursue. Instead, he patiently waits as his scientists complete development of an advanced 3rd-generation Imperial dark-armored droid, a powerful weapon practically unstoppable by anyone but a Jedi. Elsewhere, alarm bells urgently ring from the city walls as hired mercenaries rush to defensive positions. Residents jolt awake, sensing that a fierce battle is imminent. Outside, in the dark, ominous forest, the glow of lightsabers pierces the night. Terrified mercenaries quickly retreat under relentless pressure. A mysterious woman in dark robes, wielding twin lightsabers, charges relentlessly forward. She is none other than Ahsoka Tano, legendary Jedi warrior from one of the universe's strongest races. With her blades deflecting every blaster bolt, soldiers struggle desperately, forced to hide and seek fleeting opportunities to strike back. With a wave of her hand, Ahsoka uses the Force to disorient and expose her enemies. Terrified survivors scramble behind city walls, alerting the arrogant magistrate Morgan, who coldly watches from atop the fortifications. Expertly blending into shadows and mist, Ahsoka swiftly maneuvers behind panicked mercenaries, silently dispatching them one by one. With ease, she eliminates the entire group of soldiers. Ahsoka's reason for attacking becomes clear. She has come to deliver a final warning to Magistrate Morgan: leave planet Corvus immediately. Morgan, notorious for her cruelty and arrogance, has oppressed local citizens for years, leaving them hopeless and miserable. Having witnessed the citizens suffering firsthand from her forest hideaway, Ahsoka issues an ultimatum. Morgan must evacuate within 1 day or face Ahsoka's swift judgment. With that, Ahsoka vanishes silently into the mist. Meanwhile, a spaceship arrives quietly above Corvus, piloted by none other than bounty hunter Djarin, seeking the Jedi at last. His striking Mandalorian armor immediately attracts guards' attention. But before he even identifies himself, they open the gates to let him pass. As Djarin enters the bustling yet oddly silent marketplace, residents avoid him, frightened by soldiers watching nearby. Cornered townsfolk quietly warn him not to speak openly. Soldiers soon approach, informing Djarin that Magistrate Morgan demands his presence immediately. Passing through the guarded entrance, desperate citizens subtly plead with Djarin for help, deepening his distrust of the magistrate. As the palace doors swing open, a shocking contrast emerges. Inside lies extravagant luxury, including a pond of precious water used wastefully as decorative fish ponds, revealing the extent of Magistrate Morgan's ruthless corruption. Djarin quickly notices that aside from Magistrate Morgan, the palace is guarded only by a single combat droid, clearly hinting that Morgan herself must possess extraordinary fighting skills. Morgan's purpose in summoning Djarin is simple. She wishes to hire him to eliminate the Jedi warrior, Ahsoka Tano. Without wasting time on unnecessary talk, she immediately reveals a spear crafted entirely from Beskar steel as a reward. The Beskar spear is incredibly tempting for Djarin, not only because it matches the Mandalorian steel of his armor, but because the metal itself is extraordinarily rare. This same spear would later prove critical in Djarin's battle against the Empire's fearsome 3rd-generation Dark Troopers. However, Djarin fully understands he must never associate himself with someone like Morgan. Though tempted, he merely offers a vague verbal agreement without making a true promise, then promptly leaves the palace. Djarin then takes Baby Yoda deep into the shadowy forest, hoping to locate the Jedi warrior. Activating his scanner, Djarin quickly realizes this Jedi is extremely skilled at concealment. As he lifts his binoculars to search the surroundings, Ahsoka suddenly appears from behind, attacking swiftly. Fortunately, Djarin's Mandalorian armor can resist the lightsaber strikes. Using every trick and weapon his armor possesses, Djarin manages to temporarily hold Ahsoka off. Yet when he binds her with ropes, Ahsoka effortlessly breaks free, instantly turning the tables and leaving Djarin helplessly on the defensive. Realizing the misunderstanding, Djarin quickly explains it was Bo-Katan who sent him here. But Ahsoka's attention is immediately drawn away, straight to Baby Yoda beside him. She instantly recognizes his origin. That very night, Ahsoka communicates deeply with Baby Yoda, who, upon meeting her, begins recalling fragments of his past. After sensing Baby Yoda's memories, Ahsoka informs Djarin that the child's real name is Grogu, and she reveals to him the mysteries surrounding Grogu's past. This species is extremely long-lived, capable of surviving up to 900 years. Before Djarin encountered Grogu, many Jedi had already trained him extensively. Grogu naturally possesses powerful Force abilities. However, during the Empire's rise, the Jedi Temple was destroyed, and Grogu was taken captive, causing him to lose most of his memories. Despite being 50 years old, Grogu remains an infant due to his species' incredibly long lifespan. Ahsoka tells Djarin that she once knew another of Grogu's kind, the legendary Master Yoda, a revered elder among Jedi. Though Master Yoda has long since passed, the Jedi still deeply honor his memory. The reason Grogu struggles to control the Force freely now is precisely because of his lost memories. To protect Grogu from being tracked by the Empire, Djarin decides to entrust the child to Ahsoka. After resting overnight, Ahsoka prepares to test Grogu's potential the next day. She gently floats a stone toward Grogu, instructing him to send it back using the Force. Though Grogu clearly understands, sadness clouds his face, making him reluctant to comply. Through sensing his emotions, Ahsoka realizes he is deeply afraid, traumatized by memories of past mistreatment. Unable to help directly, Ahsoka suggests Djarin try instead. Djarin pulls out Grogu's favorite toy, urging him to take it using the Force. Immediately, Grogu responds, clearly showing his deep bond and reliance on Djarin. Seeing this connection, Ahsoka admits she's not suitable to train Grogu herself and advises Djarin to journey to the planet Tython to seek other Jedi. On Tython lies an ancient Jedi Temple ruin. By placing Grogu on the Seeing Stone at its peak, he can use the Force to summon other Jedi to him. If another Jedi senses his call, they will come to find Grogu. To thank Ahsoka for her help, Djarin agrees to assist her in confronting Morgan. That same night, they approach the city gates. The guards quickly sound alarms, and an intense battle begins. With a single strike, Ahsoka slices through the city's alarm bell, officially starting the fight against tyranny. After eliminating the guards at the walls, Ahsoka bravely enters the city alone. Magistrate Morgan calmly awaits her arrival. As Ahsoka steadily approaches, the oppressed citizens gaze upon her, finally sensing a glimmer of hope. With no barriers left between them, the two powerful women prepare for an epic duel. To weaken the enemy's morale, Ahsoka dramatically tosses Djarin's shoulder plate forward as a signal. Morgan initially thought Djarin would eliminate Ahsoka for her, unaware that Djarin and Ahsoka had already joined forces. With Morgan's command, chaos erupts instantly. Ahsoka leaps gracefully onto the rooftops, deflecting incoming blaster fire with her lightsabers, luring enemy guards into narrow alleys, a tactical plan she carefully prepared. As the guards enter the alley, Djarin emerges from hiding, swiftly eliminating the remaining soldiers and freeing innocent citizens chained up nearby. While guards cautiously search the alley, Ahsoka, an expert in stealth, silently takes them out one by one from behind. When Ahsoka cleanly slices the combat droid in half, only one commander manages to escape onto the street, just as Djarin finishes freeing the townspeople.
So you're through with the Jedi?
Looks that way.
Meanwhile, Ahsoka confronts Morgan directly inside her palace. Without exchanging unnecessary words, the two formidable warriors remove their cloaks, weapons ready. Their first strikes reveal each other's capabilities clearly. Outside, two men remain at a tense standoff, silently waiting to see which woman inside emerges victorious. Every clash of weapons resonates loudly, making the waiting men outside increasingly tense. During their fierce combat, Ahsoka's hand is burned slightly by Morgan's heated Beskar spear, causing her lightsaber to fly from her grasp. Quickly adjusting her grip and technique, Ahsoka swiftly regains the upper hand. As the Beskar spear clatters onto the ground, both men outside instantly recognize the battle is over. Seeing no hope, the commander outside surrenders his weapon. Yet, as Djarin briefly lowers his guard, the commander attempts a surprise attack from behind, but Djarin's reflexes prevail. The citizens burst into joyful celebration at their newfound freedom. To thank Djarin for his invaluable help, Ahsoka presents him with the prized Beskar spear. After bidding farewell to Ahsoka, Djarin now sets course for Tython, ready to seek out other Jedi. Upon arriving at Tython, Djarin carries Grogu directly to the ancient Jedi altar atop the mountain. Gently placing Grogu upon the seeing stone, butterflies flutter gently around him. Grogu soon closes his eyes, meditating deeply and channeling the Force into the heavens. A brilliant beam of Force energy erupts skyward around him. Suddenly, a spaceship appears on the horizon, approaching rapidly. Using his binoculars, Djarin sees a mysterious figure in black robes exiting the craft. Realizing danger, Djarin immediately tries to reach Grogu, but is blocked by the overwhelming energy field surrounding him. Unable to get close, Djarin decides to head downhill, buying Grogu as much time as possible. Before he can locate the intruder, Djarin is unexpectedly attacked by intense gunfire. Emerging from cover, Djarin recognizes the attacker, Boba Fett. Boba has secretly pursued Djarin ever since noticing him with the stolen Mandalorian armor. Boba's goal is simple: reclaim the armor that rightfully belongs to him. Yet Djarin firmly believes only true Mandalorians deserve the sacred armor. Defiantly, Djarin declares that Boba must kill him to reclaim it. Boba, however, reveals he saved the assassin Fennec Shand earlier and has her positioned with a sniper rifle targeting Baby Yoda, compelling Djarin to reconsider. Realizing a fight would harm everyone involved, they quickly agree to a truce, relaxing their defenses as Fennec rejoins them. Boba promises to guarantee Baby Yoda's safety in exchange for his armor. Before they finalize their agreement, another Imperial shuttle arrives overhead, carrying fully armed stormtroopers prepared to strike. Djarin immediately races uphill to protect Grogu, but the child remains deep in his Force trance. Thrown backward repeatedly by Grogu's Force barrier, Djarin can't approach him at all. Stormtroopers swarm the hillside, initiating a brutal assault. Boba signals Fennec, and they counterattack swiftly and decisively. Wielding his legendary gaffy stick, Boba ruthlessly crushes stormtroopers, his combat skills unmatched. Meanwhile, Fennec skillfully holds her position against overwhelming enemy reinforcements. The battle escalates as waves of stormtroopers keep pouring in, pinning them down with heavy firepower. At the temple, Djarin desperately attempts again to approach Grogu, still shielded by the immense Force barrier. The powerful Force energy knocks Djarin back violently, forcing him down the mountain to buy Grogu more time. Despite their efforts, the Empire's relentless assault continues, leaving the battle's outcome hanging by a thread. Yet Djarin remains determined, fighting fiercely to protect the child he has vowed to defend at all costs. To buy Baby Yoda precious time, Fennec desperately holds the line at the base of the mountain, fighting fiercely against overwhelming odds. Facing intense enemy fire from countless stormtroopers, Fennec finds herself trapped in a brutal struggle. Boba Fett, who had been battling enemies halfway up the mountainside, rushes down to join Fennec, unleashing his fury upon the advancing soldiers. With an expression of pure rage, Boba mercilessly crushes the stormtroopers, swinging his staff relentlessly and eliminating the final opponent with brutal efficiency. Once the immediate threat passes, Boba's gaze shifts toward Djarin's ship. His armor lies within that vessel, armor that holds immense significance for Boba. Having been stolen from him a full year ago, he decides it's finally time to reclaim what rightfully belongs to him without asking permission. As Fennec finally eliminates her immediate enemies, yet another Imperial transport suddenly appears in the sky above, carrying reinforcements. Atop the mountain, Djarin's armor scanner also alerts him to this incoming wave of stormtroopers. He realizes there's no time left. They must leave immediately. Despite numerous attempts, Djarin is repeatedly repelled by the powerful Force energy surrounding Baby Yoda. Frustrated, he quickly races downhill to join Boba and Fennec in the battle. Below, Fennec finds herself surrounded and overwhelmed, pinned down by enemy fire. Just in time, Djarin arrives at her side, activating his Mandalorian armor's powerful weapons, and swiftly taking down enemy after enemy. However, The sheer numbers of stormtroopers make it impossible to defeat them completely. Now surrounded, Djarin and Fennec stand trapped, with seemingly no way out. Suddenly, a timed explosive device lands in the midst of the stormtroopers. As it detonates, a figure clad in familiar armor lands heroically in their midst. It's Boba Fett, fully armored once again. Now reunited with his legendary armor, Boba becomes an unstoppable warrior, his battle-hardened gear amplifying his combat skills. Though heavily scarred and battle-worn, the armor's deadly efficiency remains unmatched. Boba charges fearlessly into the enemy, taking them down with astonishing precision, his reverse grip gun stance radiating undeniable charisma. Terrified by his incredible prowess, the remaining stormtroopers scramble desperately back toward their ship to escape. Watching the enemy ship begin to lift off, Boba refuses to let them escape. Using his armor's targeting system, he locks onto the retreating transport and launches a powerful missile, instantly obliterating it. At that same moment, another devastating missile streaks down from the sky, striking Djarin's beloved spaceship directly and turning it instantly into smoldering ruins. Shocked, Boba quickly retreats to his own ship for safety. Witnessing his cherished ship reduced to ashes, Djarin's heart is filled with unbearable pain, the fury within him boiling to the surface. Glancing upward, Djarin sees a massive Imperial cruiser hovering ominously in the sky. It's only then he suddenly remembers. Baby Yoda's safety is now at extreme risk. Having exhausted his strength from using the Force, Baby Yoda has fallen unconscious atop the mountain. From high above, Gideon watches the battle unfold, quickly seizing the opportunity to deploy his elite third-generation Dark Troopers directly toward Baby Yoda. Djarin and Fennec desperately sprint uphill to rescue him. Yet, with powerful thrusters, the Dark Troopers rapidly descend toward their target, landing swiftly near Baby Yoda, just as Djarin and Fennec reach halfway up the mountain. As the sinister Dark Troopers approach, their heavy footsteps awaken Baby Yoda from his exhausted slumber. But by the time Djarin reaches the summit, Baby Yoda has already been captured and is swiftly being carried away into the sky. Looking up helplessly, Djarin watches as Baby Yoda is rapidly taken farther and farther away. Fortunately, Boba Fett, piloting his ship, appears just in time. Initially, Boba intends to fire missiles at the Dark Troopers, but Djarin quickly stops him, fearing harm to Baby Yoda. Reluctantly, Boba instead closely pursues the Dark Troopers, confirming their Imperial origin before reluctantly returning to the surface. In mere moments, this fierce warrior has lost the two things most precious to him. Wandering through the wreckage of his destroyed ship, Djarin's heart feels as shattered and hopeless as the debris surrounding him. Lost and disoriented, he rummages aimlessly through the ruins, unsure what exactly he's looking for. But when his eyes land upon Baby Yoda's favorite toy amidst the rubble, his fists tighten, silently vowing that he will rescue Baby Yoda no matter the cost. Boba and Fennec exchange solemn looks, understanding the gravity of this moment. Suddenly, amidst the debris, Djarin finds the Beskar spear, symbolizing a shared victory between himself and Baby Yoda. As he gently touches the spear, a spark of renewed determination fills his heart. Gathering his resolve, Djarin approaches Boba Fett. Boba immediately apologizes for reclaiming the armor, without asking, revealing the coded markings inside it to prove his ownership. Acknowledging Boba's rightful claim, Djarin graciously returns the armor to its original owner. Seeing Djarin's honorable nature, Boba expresses his willingness to help rescue Baby Yoda without condition. But they both know defeating Gideon will require far more allies. Together, they board Boba's ship to seek further assistance. Returning to the planet where Djarin first met Baby Yoda, he searches for one more crucial ally. After careful discussion, the team decides their first step must be to obtain Gideon's location. Conveniently, an imprisoned Imperial officer who might possess Gideon's coordinates is being held under Cara Dune's jurisdiction. The next day, they arrive at the prison labor site to pick up their prisoner, Miggs Mayfeld. Excited at first, Miggs is visibly shaken when he suddenly spots the fully armored Boba Fett waiting, instantly reminded of his past capture by Djarin himself. Without wasting time on conversation, they immediately head toward their target planet, beginning an exciting and dangerous mission. 5 elite bounty hunters are about to launch a thrilling covert operation. Scouting the area, they realize the enemy's defenses are formidable. They quickly decide infiltration disguised as Imperial soldiers is their best strategy. As an Imperial transport vehicle slowly enters a tunnel, they silently leap onto its roof. Cara swiftly enters the cockpit, effortlessly neutralizing the drivers. Inside the tunnel, Djarin and Migs don Imperial uniforms, handing their Mandalorian armor to Cara for safekeeping before driving onward toward the enemy base. Fennec positions herself atop a distant hill to provide sniper cover. Upon seeing the remains of other destroyed transports along the road, their expressions grow increasingly uneasy. A warning broadcast announces rising temperatures inside their transport, and they realize they are carrying highly unstable explosives. Driving carefully through a refugee camp, they notice angry, resentful stares from locals, survivors oppressed by Imperial occupation, forced to endure a miserable existence. Suddenly, an alarm blares on the radio. The transport ahead violently explodes, forcing them to consider an immediate route change. But before they can react, another explosion destroys the third transport, sending chills down their spines. Realizing their vehicle is next, they brace themselves. Within moments, rebel fighters approach rapidly from behind, leaping bravely onto their transport with explosives in hand, determined to destroy the dangerous cargo. Reacting quickly, Djarin rushes to the roof, battling the rebels desperately to stop them. Migs accelerates rapidly, dangerously overheating their explosive cargo. Forced to slow down to prevent detonation, their enemies seize the opportunity to attack again. With his blaster suddenly empty, Djarin is forced into hand-to-hand combat. Without his trusted Mandalorian armor, the flimsy Imperial armor quickly breaks under enemy strikes. But the pain of each blow fuels Djarin's rage, driving him to fight even harder. With one enemy preparing to plant explosives, Djarin swiftly defeats him, yet more rebels rush forward in a coordinated attack.
I don't think fast is a good idea!
Outnumbered, Djarin is nearly overwhelmed, enemies managing to plant their explosives. In a last desperate move, he swiftly grabs their detonator and tosses it behind him, destroying the pursuing rebels. But as they approach their destination, even more rebels appear ahead, all carrying explosives and ready for a suicidal attack. Exhausted but defiant, Djarin prepares for a final stand, determined to protect Mandalorian honor even if it costs his life. Yet just before impact, 2 Imperial TIE fighters swoop down, blasting the rebels away in a powerful barrage of laser fire. Reinforcements of Imperial troops swarm the scene, quickly wiping out the remaining attackers. As Djarin safely arrives within the Imperial base, Stormtroopers proudly salute him. Though he feels deep irony at their misguided respect, Migs, once an Imperial officer, feels an entirely different emotion. Inside the base, soldiers cheer enthusiastically, oblivious to the fact that the men they're celebrating are actually infiltrators in disguise. Right now, Djarin's only goal is to find the terminal and extract Gideon's coordinates from it. Only then can he locate Moff Gideon, the Empire's ruthless mastermind behind the scenes. But there's a complication. Inside the mess hall, Migs spots his former commanding officer. Terrified of being recognized, Migs refuses to enter. Djarin decides he must personally access the terminal himself, despite the tremendous risk. As Djarin anxiously approaches the terminal to retrieve Gideon's coordinates, a suspicious officer notices his strange behavior and quickly alerts nearby stormtroopers. Meanwhile, the team outside remains on high alert, swiftly eliminating stormtroopers that approach. Djarin hurriedly downloads the critical data and flees through the window, racing to the rooftop for extraction by Boba Fett. Stormtroopers swarm toward them, but Cara and Fennec provide expert cover, clearing the way with pinpoint sniper fire. Fennec's remarkable accuracy remains unmatched, effortlessly neutralizing each enemy soldier who dares approach. Soon, Djarin and Migs safely reach the rooftop rendezvous point, just as Boba Fett arrives to whisk them away to safety. Without hesitation, Migs grabs a rifle, carefully aims, and fires a shot that ignites the volatile cargo within the base. In moments, the enemy refinery erupts in a massive, fiery chain reaction. As Boba's ship speeds away, 2 enemy fighters quickly pursue, attempting to intercept. Boba calmly launches a powerful missile. Obliterating the threat instantly. Impressed and grateful for Miggs's bravery, Djarin decides to grant him his freedom. Now equipped with Gideon's coordinates, the team departs in Boba Fett's ship into the depths of space. Coincidentally, an Imperial shuttle transporting a key scientist passes nearby, heading toward Gideon's cruiser. Boba swiftly intercepts, allowing the group to hijack the shuttle with ease. With systems disabled, the Imperial crew can only surrender helplessly. However, one desperate officer realizes their plan to use the scientist to lure Gideon out. He immediately points a blaster at the scientist. Acting quickly, Cara neutralizes the threat and secures the scientist safely. To increase their chances of success, Djarin recruits another powerful ally. Bo-Katan cries. Meeting Bo-Katan at a remote cantina, he quickly persuades her to join their cause, especially since she seeks revenge on Gideon herself. However, Bo-Katan has one crucial condition. Djarin must let her personally reclaim the Darksaber from Gideon. Djarin, caring only for Baby Yoda's safety, agrees without hesitation. Their plan in place, the group quickly launches into hyperspace toward Gideon's cruiser. Using the captured shuttle, they stage an emergency landing, tricking Gideon's crew into opening the hangar bay doors. Once inside, Bo-Katan and her allies swiftly storm into the cruiser, while Djarin moves quietly, seeking Baby Yoda's holding cell. But Djarin makes a chilling discovery. Gideon's deadly new Dark Troopers are fully activated, heavily armed, and ready for battle. He desperately seals the containment door, but one Dark Trooper punches through easily, brutally attacking him. Djarin is thrown around violently, the powerful droid relentlessly pounding on his helmet. Regaining focus, he unleashes every weapon at his disposal, but even fire and explosives barely scratch the droid's armor. In a final desperate move, Djarin pulls out his pure Beskar spear, finally piercing and destroying the unstoppable enemy. Without hesitation, he releases the airlock, ejecting the remaining droids into deep space. But their troubles are far from over. Reaching Baby Yoda's holding cell, Djarin finds Gideon already waiting, brandishing the deadly Darksaber. Baby Yoda's eyes brighten with hope upon seeing Djarin arrive. Gideon, a master manipulator, calmly informs Djarin that he already has Baby Yoda's blood samples. He claims no further interest in the child, offering peaceful separation. Believing the danger over, Djarin approaches Baby Yoda, only to face Gideon's sudden betrayal. The villain viciously attacks, striking Djarin repeatedly. Yet the Mandalorian's Beskar armor withstands every blow, saving his life. Enraged, Djarin grabs the Beskar spear, finally leveling the playing field. Although initially outmatched, he swiftly gains the upper hand, forcing Gideon into submission. But by sparing Gideon's life to honor Bo-Katan's request, Djarin unwittingly falls into Gideon's cunning trap. When Bo-Katan arrives, eager to reclaim the Darksaber, she's stunned to realize that the legendary blade can only be wielded by one who wins it through combat. Gideon smiles cruelly, delighted to watch them forced into conflict. Before tensions escalate, alarms suddenly ring throughout the ship. The Dark Troopers, previously ejected into space, have automatically returned, more dangerous than ever. The crew braces for a hopeless battle as heavy footsteps approach the cockpit doors. Gideon gloats confidently.
Let's see how you do against a platoon.
Knowing he's the one holding all the cards. As the armored doors buckle beneath the droid's relentless assault, the crew stands ready, knowing survival is unlikely. Suddenly, another alert blares. An unidentified ship docks aboard the cruiser. Baby Yoda immediately senses the approaching presence, eyes wide in recognition. The Dark Troopers instantly pause their attack, detecting a new threat. Fear flickers across Gideon's face as monitors show a mysterious hooded figure calmly approaching the bridge, wielding a glowing lightsaber. Effortlessly carving through the deadly Dark Troopers, the newcomer steadily moves toward them. Gideon panics, attempting to seize a weapon, but Cara swiftly knocks him unconscious. The doors open, revealing a mysterious figure cloaked in black. It's Luke Skywalker, legendary Jedi Knight, summoned by Baby Yoda's call. Luke promises to train Grogu as a true Jedi, ensuring the child's safety and future. With that, Djarin's quest to protect Baby Yoda finally comes to a bittersweet close. Djarin gently lifts Baby Yoda into his arms, knowing this is their final farewell. At this moment, countless emotions overwhelm him. Memories of their time spent together rush through his mind, and tears begin to gather in this tough warrior's eyes. When Baby Yoda softly touches his helmet, Djarin immediately understands what he wants. In this deeply emotional moment, he makes the hardest decision of his life, letting go of the strict Mandalorian creed he's followed all his life. He slowly removes his helmet, revealing his face. After all, this might be their last goodbye. He wants Baby Yoda to remember what he truly looks like. As Baby Yoda gently strokes Djarin's face, this iron-hearted warrior can no longer hold back his tears. With great reluctance, Djarin finally hands Baby Yoda over to Luke Skywalker. As Baby Yoda and Luke gradually fade from his sight, Djarin's tears roll silently down his cheeks, unstoppable and filled with sadness. The scene changes, and now Djarin strides firmly toward his next mission. The Mandalorian's proud nature means he habitually ignores irrelevant people around him. In his eyes, there's only the bounty he's about to capture. As he pushes aside the curtain, the atmosphere inside the butcher's shop instantly grows tense.
I'm here for Kaba Baez.
The nervous butcher attempts to fake calmness, greeting him cautiously. Djarin issues a stern warning, telling bystanders to leave immediately unless they want to get hurt.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
But the moment he draws his blaster, he's unexpectedly attacked from behind by the Tatooinian guards, knocking his weapon to the floor. Facing a hail of blaster fire, Djarin is forced to wield his newly acquired Darksaber. As he swings it, the powerful blade easily cuts through his enemies. Though the Darksaber's blade is extremely sharp and unstoppable, Djarin struggles to control it, not yet familiar with its use. Accidentally burning his own leg, the enemy guards seize the chance and rush to surround him. Despite the pain, Djarin fights back fiercely once again. Seeing an opening, the butcher tries attacking from behind, unleashing a furious blaster barrage. Furious, Djarin grabs a dagger, swiftly stabbing it into the butcher's chest, pinning him violently to a table. With a final roar, Djarin raises the Darksaber high, slicing the butcher in two, decisively ending his life. Carrying the butcher's severed head, Djarin steps outside, where the other workers immediately hesitate, afraid to make a move. But Djarin isn't a ruthless killer. He's here strictly for the mission. He offers them a deal. If they let him pass unharmed, they can have every single thing inside. They eagerly accept, rushing inside to claim the spoils. The scene shifts to a massive ring-shaped space station orbiting in space. This is where Djarin must turn in his bounty. Dragging his injured leg, he moves forward with determination, bounty in hand. The reason he accepted this mission was because the client knew the location of the Mandalorian armorer. Impressed by Djarin's quick work, the client gladly shares the information, directing him exactly where to go. Following the armorer's secret Mandalorian symbols using his armor's scanner, he discovers a narrow passageway at the station's lower levels. This must be the new Mandalorian hideout. Inside, the armorer gazes up at the stars, immediately recognizing Djarin's wounded footsteps approaching. The armorer quickly instructs another Mandalorian to help treat Djarin's injury. Taking out the Darksaber, Djarin asks about its mysterious origins. According to the armorer, the Darksaber was forged by Mandalorians over 1,000 years ago. By Mandalorian creed, whoever wins this saber through honorable combat becomes the leader of all Mandalorians. But if the Darksaber falls into weak hands without combat, the wielder will suffer the Mandalorian's curse. Djarin then asks the armorer for help with another weapon, his Beskar spear, requesting it to be converted into defensive armor. According to Mandalorian tradition, pure Beskar should never be used offensively, only defensively. He decides to have the spear melted down into a chainmail armor vest for Baby Yoda. Thanks to the armorer's exceptional craftsmanship, the chainmail is quickly completed and handed back to Djarin. Meanwhile, Baby Yoda and Luke Skywalker are busy training far away. Delivering this armor to Baby Yoda will be challenging, as Djarin's old ship was destroyed by the Empire, leaving him stranded. Determined, Djarin heads to a spaceport. He intends to travel to Tatooine to find an old friend who can help build him a new starship. But before boarding, the security droid sternly instructs Djarin to leave all weapons behind. Reluctantly, he removes every single piece of equipment, submitting to the droid's inspection. As the transport ship quietly departs the station, the silence sends Djarin into deep contemplation. A curious young alien seated nearby sees the armored stranger, shyly waving at him. This innocent interaction stirs Djarin's memories. He quietly pulls out the tiny armor vest, reminding him again of Baby Yoda. Since their painful separation, a whole year has passed. Soon, the transport lands smoothly on Tatooine. Picking up his gear, Djarin eagerly heads straight to Peli's workshop. Thanks to Peli's tireless work, a customized new starfighter is finally ready for him. Overjoyed, Djarin immediately climbs into the cockpit, eager for a test flight. When he ignites the thrusters, excitement nearly brings tears to his eyes. Accelerating rapidly, the new starfighter shoots forward like an arrow. This is only 1/10 of its true potential. With increasing speed, the ship gracefully dips into a nearby canyon. Djarin's incredible piloting skills shine as he effortlessly maneuvers through narrow mountain gaps. Compared to his previous ship, the new starfighter is 100 times faster, and that's just on the planet's surface. Activating the hyperdrive, the ship rockets straight upward, piercing the atmosphere and entering outer space in mere moments. A brand new space adventure begins. Passing by a large alien transport ship, a curious little alien aboard again stands up and waves enthusiastically. Djarin nods warmly, responding to the child's excitement as he swiftly passes overhead. Just as he's about to head toward Baby Yoda's planet, Djarin is suddenly intercepted by 2 space patrol officers for speeding. Trapped between patrol ships, they demand to see his identification. Without proper registration documents, Djarin nervously realizes he's not only speeding, but also flying without a license. Under relentless questioning by the 2 patrol officers, Djarin has no choice but to activate sublight speed and jumps away instantly. Emerging from hyperspace, Djarin arrives at the planet where Baby Yoda is training. The purpose of this trip is simple. He must deliver the specially crafted Beskar chainmail armor to Baby Yoda. Following a robot's guidance, Djarin reaches a serene bamboo forest. The droid politely asks him to wait patiently for further instructions. Meanwhile, atop the mountain, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker continues Baby Yoda's rigorous training. But the tiny green student seems to have no heart for training today. He quickly dozes off. Suddenly, a nearby frog croaks, immediately catching Baby Yoda's attention. His inner foodie instincts awaken instantly. Unable to resist, Baby Yoda tries to summon the frog using his still unsteady control over the Force. Just as the frog floats helplessly toward becoming Baby Yoda's snack, Master Luke gently interrupts him. Like a child caught misbehaving, Baby Yoda looks embarrassed, expecting to be scolded, but Luke does not blame him. Instead, Luke decides to use Baby Yoda's appetite as motivation for learning. With a simple lift of his hand, Luke effortlessly elevates all the frogs from the pond into midair. Luke's display of such strong Force powers is meant to inspire Baby Yoda's desire to learn more. Next, Luke attempts to teach Baby Yoda the basics of Force-enhanced jumps. Unfortunately, apart from his impressive frog-catching skills, Baby Yoda struggles with nearly everything else. Yet Luke remains infinitely patient with his young student, personally demonstrating each technique. Luke instructs Baby Yoda to feel and connect deeply with the force of nature. He explains that everything in the universe exists in harmony and balance. Slowly, Baby Yoda begins to understand these profound teachings and masters the art of balance. Luke then demonstrates basic lightsaber movements, gently guiding Baby Yoda in the fundamentals of wielding the legendary weapon. Though these maneuvers appear simple, fully mastering lightsaber combat through the Force will be a long journey. Down the mountain, Djarin silently watches Baby Yoda's entire training session from afar. His longing to see Baby Yoda is overwhelming, yet he knows they cannot meet this time. Ahsoka has already explained clearly that for Baby Yoda to become a true Jedi, he must abandon all attachments and dependencies. Though his heart aches deeply, Djarin ultimately decides to respect Baby Yoda's path and not interfere. He quietly hands Baby Yoda's armor to Ahsoka and slowly turns to leave. Later, Ahsoka hands the chainmail armor to Luke Skywalker. Seeing this gift makes Luke's expression turn solemn and thoughtful. This prompts him to make a significant decision. He must let Baby Yoda choose his own destiny. Luke carefully places Djarin's armor on the right side and Master Yoda's lightsaber on the left. Clearly, Baby Yoda loves both items. Yet each represents a completely different path. Ultimately, Baby Yoda's heart guides him to choose the armor, signifying his desire to return to Djarin's side. With Baby Yoda's decision made, the story finally comes to an emotional and satisfying end.